guys? I hope you're doing good today, and I hope you're ready to do some rotations today. So we're doing lesson 3.7, which happens to do with rotation. So we've been doing all these different transformations, and the last one we're going to touch base on is rotating. So rotating counterclockwise or clockwise, 90 degrees, 270, just rotating or turning, I guess you could say. So let's jump into that. So the first thing we're going to look at are the key points. So it says here, remember, pre-image is the original points or the figure or shape, and then the image is the new point. So remember, pre is before and the image is always the after, okay? Also, another thing to remember is with the pre-image is always gonna be just the variable. So like I have X, Y, and Z, that's gonna be my pre-image. The image is always going to have a prime on it. So Y prime, Z prime, or X prime. So the prime is always the image, the one that it's going to, okay? So today we're going to be looking at rotations. Rotations do not preserve orientation, meaning when you rotate something, it doesn't keep the same orientation, meaning it's going to be spinning, it's going to be looking a different way than whenever you rotate it. Meaning face the same way, but it does preserve rigidity, meaning it doesn't get bigger or smaller. It just rotates. It stays the same size, okay? So one thing to remember this is a rotation has a T in it, so it's a turn. So we're turning the shape, okay? So in order for me to be able to explain this a little bit better, let's go ahead and jump over example number 1. Okay, so looking at example number 1, it says we need to rotate rectangle EFGH clockwise -90 degrees about the origin, okay? So the one thing you have to understand is you don't have to draw this, but if I have a clock, so everybody knows a clock here, correct? Okay? So clockwise is the way the clock turns. So that means the clock is going this way. All the hands turn that way, clockwise, correct? With the clock, okay? So mathematically, when I rotate, if I rotate that way, that's always going to be a negative rotation, okay? If I rotate counterclockwise, meaning going against the clock, that's going to be a positive rotation. And the reason why it's a positive and negative is because of my my coordinates here. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and this is 4. So this is going to be positive. Going the opposite way is going to be negative, okay? So the first thing we're going to look at is we are going to be rotating this rectangle -90 degrees about the origin clockwise. So I want you guys to picture, if I was to take this graph and I was to rotate that thing 90 degrees, meaning I'm going to take this and put it up here, take this and put it down here, I'm rotating that 90 degrees. So we're going to do the same thing here. So let's go ahead and just look at coordinate G here, okay? So right now, if I actually took this thing and I counted over, we're at -2, 3. So what that means is I'm going 2 spaces over and I'm going 3 spaces up. So I want y'all to picture if I was to rotate this thing 90 degrees, that means I'm just going one 90-degree turn. It's going to end up, this is going to end up rotating up to here. So that means if I go left 2 and up 3, I'm now going to go up 2 and over 3. So this is going to be the new ordered pair for G prime right here. So again, I basically took this and I rotated it -90 degrees. So that's 90 degrees. So that would be the new ordered pair for G. Okay? So same thing again. So if I took F here, I'm going to do my best to keep G there. So there goes G. If I took F now, so I'm going over 2, so 1, 2, and then I'm going up 6 here. So then if I was to take that and I was to rotate that whole thing here, that means I'm going to go up 2 and to the right 6. So I'm going to go up 2 and then I'm going to go to the right 6. So this right here would end up being my ordered pair for F prime. Because I took that thing and I rotated it, okay? So now I did 2 points doing it physically, and then now I want to go ahead and show you the rules for doing this. So right here, I'm going to stick the rules up in that corner. And then the rule for rotating -90 degrees, it is going to be, I'm taking X comma Y, my original coordinate, and then what I'm going to do is I'm actually flipping it, and I'm changing the X coordinate. So -90, I'm flipping it, it's going to be Y comma -X, okay? So right now we need to do E and H. So E is at -8 comma 6. So literally I'm going to flip it, I'm writing my Y coordinate first, which is 6. And I'm changing the X to its opposite, which -8 will turn to +8. So my new coordinate for E prime is going to end up being 6, 8. So I'm going to count over 6 and I'm going to go up 8. So this right here is going to be E prime, okay? And then now I need to do the same thing with H. So again, I'm doing negative 90 degrees about the origin. My coordinate is going to be negative 8. It's not letting me write a negative here. Here we go. Do this here. Is negative 8, comma 3. So again, y coordinate stays the same, which is 3. And I'm changing the 8 to its opposite, which is going to be 8. So I'm going over 3 and I'm going up 8. So right here is going to end up being H prime. So ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be triangle or rectangle EFGH prime here, rotated negative 90 degrees. So I'm rotating negative 90 degrees about the origin. So again, you can either count and then rotate that over and get your counting part, or you can do it through the rules here that I gave you here, okay? All right, so let's jump over to example number 2. All right, so same thing again here. I'm going to rotate triangle ABC 180 degrees. So remember a while ago I told y'all, if you go with the clock, that's negative because I'm going against the coordinate system. If I go against the clock, meaning counterclockwise, it's going to be a positive rotation because this is 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this is going to be a positive rotation. So that means I'm rotating 180 degrees counterclockwise about the origin. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys how to do this physically, and I'm also going to show you guys how to do it using the rules as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this. So right now, let's go ahead and do coordinate A. So I know to get to coordinate A, that means I'm going to count over 3, and I'm going to go up 1. So right now, if I took that and I rotated this whole thing 90 degrees, it's going to end up going up and over, correct? But I'm actually doing it 180. So if I did it 1 turn, that would be 90. If I did it 2 turns, that would be 180, which means I'm going to end up down here, okay? So I'm basically flipping this and going this way. So instead of going over 3 and up 1, that's going to end up sitting down over here. So I'm going to go to the left 3 and then down 1. So I'm going to go to the left 3 and then down 1 right here. So ladies and gentlemen, this is where A prime is going to land right there. Okay, I'm going to erase that so we can see it. Okay, A prime. I'm going to do the same thing with C here. So again, I'm going to count over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then up 1. So again, that thing is going to end up laying down over here. I'm flipping it over 180 degrees. So that means I'm going to the left 7 and down 1. So I'm going to go to the left 7 and down 1. See, as you can see, so that's 90. This is 180 degrees. So this is where C prime is going to sit, ladies and gentlemen, okay? And then now lastly, I'm actually gonna do B mathematically, okay? So again, earlier I showed you guys the rules. I'll show it again up in the corner, and I'm going 180 degrees. So that means I'm gonna just change the signs to their opposite. So that means I'm taking B, X comma Y, and it is turning into negative X, negative Y. I'm literally just changing the signs, that's all I'm doing. So right now, if I look 180 degrees, my coordinate here is gonna be 5, 6, right? So I'm literally just changing that to negative 5, negative 6. So I'm going to the left 5 and down 6. So I'm going to the left 5, and then I'm gonna go down 6, which is going to end up being my B prime here. So then if I connect my triangle here, you then can see I did a 180 degree rotation. I took that whole thing and I rotated it 180 degrees down into that corner, okay? So, all right guys, so let's look at example number 3 here. So on example number 3, it says it wants me to rotate triangle XYZ clockwise, which again, going against it is going to be a negative rotation. So remember, if you see that negative sign, it's going to be clockwise, meaning we're going with the clock, okay? About the origin. Okay, so I'm going to do 1 point counting here, and then I'm going to do the other 2 points using the rules here. Okay, so let's go ahead. So right now, let's go ahead and think about this. So if I take this shape and I rotate it, so if I rotate it right here in this section, that's going to be a 90 degree rotation. If I rotate it here, that's going to be a negative 180 degree rotation. And then I got to rotate it one more time, which will then make it a negative 270. So if I end up rotating it all the way around to this coordinate over here, or this section is going to end up being a negative 270. But let's go and think about this. If I actually rotate this thing this way one time is a 90-degree rotation. So you got to think, a negative 270 rotation and a 90-degree rotation are kind of the same thing, okay? But we're going to end up looking at a negative 270 here, okay? So let's go ahead and do coordinate x here, okay? So I know x here, this is 90, 180, and that's going to become 270, so it's going to end up in this section over here. So let's go and look at that. Let me get me a color here. Let's do purple, okay? And so for x, if I count over and then down, let me get a bigger thing here. So I'm going to count over 1 and I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's going to be my coordinate for x. So remember, I'm rotating this thing negative 270. So if this ends up here, so 1 and down 3, I'm going to rotate it 1, 2, and then 3 is going to be up here. So that means I'm going to end up going up 1, and then so that's going to end up rotating here. So I would end up go down over. It would end up rotating here, go down up, and then I would end up going up and over here now. So I'm going to go up 1 and over 3. So I'm going to go up 1, and I'm going to go over 1, 2, 3. So ladies and gentlemen, this is where x prime is going to end up. Because if you look here, I rotated it here. So it would go down and over. I rotated it here, it would go down and up. I rotate it one more time, it would go up and over. So it would actually be at 1, 3 would end up being my x prime here, ladies and gentlemen, okay? All right, so now putting those rules back up there, a negative 270-degree rotation is known as x comma y, and it is going to end up looking at negative y comma x. So what this means is I'm actually flipping it and I'm only changing the y coordinate to its opposite. Okay, so right now let's go and look at this. Let's do y right now. So y is 7 comma 1. Okay, so I'm putting the y coordinate first, but I'm doing the opposite of it. So my y coordinate's 1, so that's going to be negative 1. And then comma, and then I'm putting the x coordinate as the same here. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, that means I'm going to the left 1 and I'm going up 7 here. So this is where my y prime is going to end up. Okay. And now let's go ahead and do z now. So z coordinate, let me go ahead and erase this. My z coordinate is sitting at 4, negative 6. So I'm taking my y coordinate, doing the opposite. So that's going to be 6, comma, and I'm keeping my x coordinate, which is going to be 6, 4. So I'm going to go over 6, and it looks like I'm going to go up 4, which is right here. This is z prime. And so now whenever I connect this, ladies and gentlemen, you should see I just now rotated this thing 270 degrees about my origin all the way. Actually, negative 270 about the origin, okay? So again, you can either count it and then rotate it as best you can, or you can use the rule here and plug your coordinates in to find your new coordinates, okay? All right, so remember, ladies and gentlemen, your challenge question over here. This is a gauge to show if you are ready to move on to your skill check. Preferably, I'd like for you guys to do this, and if you can do it with ease, that means you're ready for the skill check. If not, come up, ask a question. I can help you out, and good luck on your skill check, and let me know if you need any help.